about The Nice Guys, right? So The Nice Guys is probably the first movie I've ever seen about 20 minutes in, and I actually wanted a sequel just right there and then. That's how funny and fucking good this movie is. Now, granted, this movie is so cocky and so sure as to what it wants to be or what it is pretty much that it starts to seem like a dick measuring contest. The thing about this film, though, it is very refreshing to kind of see this type of film that doesn't really focus on big special effects and just kind of a throwback to both the 70s with the noir type of stuff, which I really did enjoy, but also the 80s kind of like buddy cop thing, which really worked well in the past. The thing about it is Shane Black just nice. He just knows his shit just in general, right? He knows how to handle this type of situation. The thing about it, though, even though this takes place in the 70s and they definitely take full effect as the 70s because this is definitely a big part of the plot. It's just that I feel as if even though the mystery and the setting itself, they are very much in sync with what they're trying to tell here. It's just that it never exceeds past the performances. The performances are essentially the main plot point or the main focus of this film, and that's kind of like the main thing I have to say next is that Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe are just fantastic all across the fucking board. The thing about it, though, it's not just like slapstick humor or like verbal humor or whatever you want to call it. It actually is sometimes just their mannerisms. That's the way they kind of stand just in general, and I really did enjoy that. Now, granted, even though this movie for the most part is about as cliche as you possibly imagine on the surface, on the surface, it's just about cliche, as I said. But when you look deep inside of it, you realize it's a little bit more dense than that. There's a lot of things kind of like happening and going on. So I really did kind of like that. But overall, I actually say this is actually quite good. The thing is, though, it's not just Gosling kind of like Crowe that's kind of bringing the A game, and they are game for everything in this movie. Everything in this movie they are game for. The thing about it, it's also the supporting cast, which I have to admit that Kim Basinger actually does a real good job. Ryan Gosling's daughter in the film actually does a pretty good job, even though sometimes the acting could be hit or miss depending on what you want to say. But I actually think they really do a fantastic job. Even Matt Bone, we got to give a shout out to him because, you know, this guy comes in guns blazing, literally. So the thing about it is that I really had a fun time with this movie, and it definitely was a breath of fresh air after seeing all this like slog of big budgeted films. Now, if you like all these like buddy cop movies, you're really going to enjoy this movie. That's all you can really say is that it's a fun blast from start to finish. Honestly, I have to say, and I know people probably like, you're nuts, is that this is probably almost better than Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, mainly because I feel like, one, this kind of stayed more on track as to what it's supposed to be. Now, granted, it's obscure. It's still that same black type of style where I feel like this one is almost, it's kind of like the Big Lebowski, right? It's kind of in the real world, but there's very strange and obscure situations to the point where it almost doesn't seem like it's the real world. But overall, this is just a fun blast of a time, and I think it's something that I think if you are tired of the things that are like big on the, you know, box office these days, I feel like this is definitely a breath of fresh air, and I definitely think you should probably see it, especially if you're a fan of Shane Black. I say this is his best movie. Maybe not the best written movie, but I think maybe it might be his best movie that he's directed compared to Iron Man 3 and, you know, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. But for me personally, if you want to see it, go ahead and see it. I think it's a fucking blast. And there's not really much to say. The banter, the wit, the setting, the clothing, the sex, the drugs, it's all in there. And that's all I can say. If I had to recommend a movie to you that's kind of similar to this, I would probably recommend Freebie and the Bean. It's with James Caan and Alan Arkin. You can look it up. I'll probably put a link to the trailer, and you know, you can check it out. It's actually quite funny. That's another movie that just kind of like thrives on just like the chemistry. This movie really just succeeds mainly on chemistry just alone. Even though the mystery is good, but the chemistry is really what it is, and the performances with everybody game to play. That's all you can really say. So comment, subscribe, and like if you actually enjoyed my review. I'm Chris Smith, and I'm signing out.